Hi, my name is Matthew Boyer, and I am very excited to share a conversation with Pearl today.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Pearl. And I'm so excited to have our special guest, Matthew Boyer, on. I met him a few months ago at a contest for speakers, and he did an amazing job. I'll let him tell you what the outcome was on that in just a minute. But Matt, welcome to the show, and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me on. My name is Matthew Boyer. I am a business owner, working on becoming a speaker, working on writing a book, and a proud husband and father.
Awesome. So, Matt, one of the things I love to do when we start out the episode is to kind of go back in time for a little bit, like when we're, our younger selves, and when we had those dreams and aspirations of what we want to do. We're going to grow up, we're going to have the picket fence, we're going to be the president, we're going to be a fireman, all those things, teachers and such. So tell us what I love to find out is, like, how did that dream when we were little, how does it today? Like, oftentimes they parallel each other, right? Like, I know for me, I wanted to be a teacher growing up, and I just didn't have the path that went to that. But here I am today, I'm coaching, and so I'm teaching in a whole different way than I ever thought I would be teaching, right? So what was that dream for you when you were that little boy? Take us back, and how does it parallel to what you're doing today?
So when I was in school, and I actually had a copy of this for the longest time, and I've misplaced it over the years, but I wrote myself a letter of, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I listed three things. One was to paint a car I had pink. The other, actually, it was to get the car and paint. The other two one was to teach martial arts and to have kids. Those were kind of my goals when I was younger. And I believe that was sixth grade, maybe. And I literally achieved that dream after 20 years of martial arts training. I opened my Taekwondo school when I was 29. I have now had it for 15 years. I do that in the evenings, and I own a painting company during the day. But it was really neat as a young kid to realize how much I loved martial arts and I loved what I do with it, and realized that I wanted to teach and I wanted to pursue that as a career, and to have grown up and done that. Today, for example, I just got back from one of the local elementary schools. I taught over 600 kids Taekwondo all day for career day. So to kind of get up and live that dream every day has been just simply amazing. And, I'm very blessed to be able to have done that.
I think that's so awesome. And again, you're another guest. It shows how those dreams we had when we were little, how they really do parallel to what we're doing today. And I'm laughing because when you said that, paint the car pink, for those that are not watching, Matthew actually has a pink shirt on right now.
Our pink hoodie, yeah. It was our competition hoodie, yeah.
I was like, pink is your color.
We did. I had a project car my parents picked up for me. It was a 1958 Impala. And it was kind of my dad saying, between martial arts and working on the car, it would keep me out of trouble and keep me on the straight path. And my friends and I actually, early 20s, we lowered it and we painted the thing pink, and we used to just cruise. We all had old cars. And so I've always been fond of pink. So yeah, today I'm wearing our comp hoodie, which we did in pink for mainly, honestly, I did it because at tournaments, everybody wears red and blue or black or some type of hard, tough martial arts color. I can find my people anywhere in a room of thousands because we all have pink on. It's honestly just a hack to help find my people in big venues.
I love it. Hey, I appreciate your honesty with it, and how cool. It's interesting how you said that about your dad thought having these two parallels, how they would keep you, out of trouble. And, there are those things that expect, and now you're a parent now today, right? How there are things we do that in our hopes is that they keep us on the right path, help inspire our kids, and, to go on to be greater and bigger things than we ever are. And I love that you share that. And yeah, finding something that makes you stand out in a room is powerful, which leads me to how, when I met you, like, one of the first things, I got there, I think near the end of day one, when you guys had already in the morning, kind of went through your first round of the speaking competition. So when I remember sitting there, I happened to sit at the table. There's an empty seat at Matt's table. I sat down next. And the first thing I thought was, like, for me, was like how you commanded the room, like how you stood out, but in a great way. And how you also brought that feeling of leadership to the room. And so I want everybody to share with everybody how we met, what you were doing, and let us know what the results were.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. And I have to give credit to that to teaching martial arts. When I'm leading my classes and I'm here instructing in the school, I've never had to wear like a badge that says, hey, this guy's in charge. People just kind of know it when they walk in. If I'm on a job site with my crew, people 90% of the time know that I'm the boss. And I think I do that in a way that does not come off pretentious or arrogant. It's just kind of a natural confidence that through martial arts I've developed. But that day I was actually part of the Merge Worldwide speaking event. This is something that a friend of mine had done previously, and it motivated me. I've always understood that there was speaking and there was delivering a message. And I've always been super motivated by people that could really deliver a good message, and watch different speakers that would just motivate you and empower you. That I always just found it to be an amazing skill. So I was down there speaking, competing in the competition. I did place first. I feel like I really did wow the judges. And I think that one of the big things that helped me was just that confidence. And I, I, I didn't have to fight my nerves. I wasn't nervous. I was anxious because I wanted to get up there. I wasn't anxious like, oh no, they're going to call on me next. I wanted to go. I had practiced. I had put a lot of work in, and I was really excited to get up there and share my message and institute everything that the cruises have taught me and that Jesse has worked with me on into that competition. Because as we sat there and listened to all the other instructors get up and the judges talk, it is so apparent that there's difference between speaking and delivering a message. And I was blessed to be able to do that.
Yeah, I love what you said too. There definitely is a message, like you just said, speaking and delivering the message. It can be two different things, and if you can bridge them together, it's just an amazing message that your message really gets heard. Then I feel, you shared so many different stories on there. I'm going to go into some of that in a minute. But tell us and the listeners, like, what did that mean for like all that work you've done, and with your business, and I know we're going to talk in a minute too about what you're doing in your community. But share with the listeners and the people that are watching today, share with them, like, what was that feeling like of that coming in first, and what did that do for you?
There was a lot of feelings. It was, and I say this from a humble position, but when I practice or train for something, I do it to win. So it yet again showed me that hard work and putting in the reps, hiring the right coach, and truly believing in what you're doing will bring the good results. There wasn't any excuses that needed to be made. And I went against great, very talented speakers. That it comes down to putting in the work, working hard, plan your work, work your plan. And it was very moving. It was very inspirational. And it was just amazing to see the reaction from the judges and see the reaction from those around me, and really to get up there and share it. It was just, honestly, I was more moved by everybody in the room and hearing their stories than kind of my own experience with doing it. I left there meeting and connecting with so many amazing people, hearing so many awesome stories, and being in a room with so many people that are sharing a great message like that.
I love that you share that, because going in, we never go into something planning to fail, right? And going in to succeed and be the best we can be. And I love that, that's your goal, that's your mindset. And having a mindset like that is so, so important. And even if, let's just say that you didn't make that first place, you still went in with that mindset that I'm a winner, right? That I deserve this and I'm going to win this. And talk to the listeners, like, what is that? What does it take because it doesn't happen overnight. Let's be honest, right? Having that kind of mindset does not necessarily happen overnight. What are some of the steps that you have taken over your life that's helped you develop that mindset?
I have to thank martial arts for a majority of it. But I struggle with self-confidence. As you heard me speak about in my first speech, I was overweight as a kid. I didn't have self-confidence. I was shy. If people would talk to me and kind of I'd warm up to them, I would chat, but or talk your ear off, honestly. But I wasn't a very self-confident person. And then and everybody preaches this, you got to get the reps in, you got to get the reps in. But win after win after win, you set out to do a goal, you set the goal, you set the task, you achieve it. It's a little more of a notch of confidence. And that's something I've always accredited to martial arts. I have students come in that are struggling with self-confidence. They're just kids. They don't know. They're depressed. I work with a lot of children in the spectrum, or a lot of children that are at risk for things. And we teach them to do a kick. They do the kick. They see me do the kick. In their mind, they did the same kick as me. Boom, confidence is up. That's a win. And we stack all these small wins until that confidence becomes bulletproof. And with me over the years, I've learned that if you put in the work, you hire the right coaches, you focus on your goal, the wins will come. So it's more of a just constantly winning that builds that confidence. And it's not even that you have to win everything. It's, I've fought, I've done a lot of fights. I do them normally for charity. I've lost both my last two big fights, but I also raised $10,000 at one and $7,000 at another for local charities. I didn't see it as a loss. I was interviewed right after the one match, and they're like, well, how do you feel about your loss? I'm like, it wasn't a loss. I said, I helped a ton of lives with that $10,000. I'm good. But it comes from the repetitions of doing it, seeing it. I think a lot of it just comes from life and going over those hurdles and having the right mentality and the right people around you. My instructors here at my school are some of the most accomplished young men and women that I've ever met. And I attribute a lot of that to the role that I've played in their lives. They have great parents, great people around them, but that constant teaching, that winning attitude. And when they do achieve a goal, congratulate them, letting them know, hey, that was great. That was huge. That was huge. Good job. And then that notches you up a little bit more. And that support. And there's a lot of people that don't have that in their lives. I'm thankful that I was put into I've been in martial arts now for 31 years. And that I have had that support system and those lessons, even if they weren't explained at a young age, they were later on.
And I love how you talk about we have to stack our wins. Like sometimes we think we have to go for, let me go get the big win first, right? But what if you start small, you stack the win, you learn from that win, what can you carry to the next win? I love that you share that. It's kind of like the analogy I like to do when I'm coaching with my clients is we talk about that, like you've got this big mountain you have to climb, right? It doesn't mean you're going to get your hiking shoes on and you're going to get to the top right away, right? You're going to take a little walk and you're going to stop at the scenic route. You're going to maybe have a little picnic lunch. You're going to throw what doesn't serve you into the trash can because we don't litter. We don't leave our stuff for other people to have to fix for us, right? So we're going to put that in the trash and where it belongs, and then take what's worked and then get to the top. And then when you get to the top, you're going to do the same thing. How did I get here? Who helped me get here? What were the things that I did to help me get to the top? And, sometimes people think, oh, I get to the top. Now it's just rolling down the hill like Jack and Jill. No, you don't have to do that, right? You're going to sit there. What doesn't serve you, you're going to put in the litter. And even if it's the people who no longer serve you, I like what you talked about too. I like to call it, from my friend Lisa, we call it our balcony people, or who's sitting in your front row. Like, who are those people that are there to support you? And if they're not, then let them move to the back row, because they're not going to help you move forward to what you want in that goal and those wins. And then once you're at the top, you come back down, you do the same thing coming back down. Stop on the way down, check your shoes, take off your shoes. Do I need to relax my feet? What do I need to put back in my backpack to help me get to my next goal? And then you take that, leave again behind in that litter box that doesn't serve you, and head on down. Because sometimes we think we hit the mountain and we got to crash coming down, but you don't. You can have that support, like what you've done for the young men and women in your area, to do that. And I love what you said too about people think when things don't go the way we expect it to, we've lost. It's such a big loss. That can hold people up in that mindset of going, well, man, that didn't work. That sucks. Life sucks. All those things can come into our head. But if we look at that, what was the win I got from it? Like you said, you raised money for amazing people in your community.
Yeah.
What was your win? Even though you feel like you've lost, there were still wins from that that new thing you're learning, right? And I love that you share that analogy with everybody, because oftentimes our mindset does, and our judge and our saboteur, which again, I love coaching on, those people pleaser, those risk takers, those high achievers. We think we got to go for that next thing, or I can't say no to that person because they're going to think I don't like them. But when you set those boundaries and you sage that judge and you sage that saboteur to be like, nope, we're not going to go there today. This is what's working. I'm going to take it with me. Then we can see so much more success, even in the things that we feel or other think are losses for us, right? And I think that I love that you share that.
Oh, for sure. 90% of people I meet that are struggling with a goal or their business or their career, it's confidence. It's always a confidence to take that first step. They'll tell me, Matt, you go in these businesses, you do all this stuff. What do I need to do? And they'll lay out everything. And I'm like, you just need to do it. Oh, I know. I knew you were going to say that. And it's just a confidence. But not everybody's blessed with having those wins. I have been in martial arts my entire life. I don't even know how many medals and trophies I've got anymore. My children now compete. They're 9 and 10, and our entire garage is full on the walls with all their wins. And I make sure to teach them that these are your wins. Be proud of them. We've got their medals and their big trophies and their custom belts they've won and all the things they've won. And they're so proud of it. And they don't even realize just how confident they are from those wins.
I love that you display that because that's something we do need. We need to look at what are our wins. We need to, sit in that. Again, sometimes those high achievers, those saboteurs, they like, oh, I won that. Let me go get the next win. No, if you can learn to sit and look at that win, and again, going back to the analogy of the mountain, and how did I get there? Who helped me get there? Do I need to go get another mentor to help me get to that next win or that next thing I want to achieve and that next goal? I think it's important. Like you have people coming to you and asking you about that. I also know you do a lot in your community with helping other business owners. Can you share with us, what led you down? What was something that you saw a need in your community? Because I think you have a podcast too in your community. Yes. It's a lot around your community. So tell us, why is community important to our businesses and also to us as an individual?
Well, for me, one of the big things I noticed when I moved my school, I've been in Troy, Missouri now 10 years. We originally were in Wentzville nearby, was that the big companies, the big names, we've got several of them in town, and the old names, one have been around for a while, they support their community. Their name is on the back of every T-ball t-shirt. Their signs are on the fence at every game. They're everywhere you look. And I went, okay, this is what I need to do to grow my business. Because if I'm going to be in a community and have businesses there, I want to be a contributor to that community. Then COVID hit and a bunch of us got on a Zoom call and we decided that the best thing we could do was to support each other. Everybody was like, how can we help our neighbors? Because we didn't want to lose businesses in our community. And during that time, we supported each and every person in every way that we could. And it was a huge learning experience for me, but it also, and I've talked about this to other people, it makes you feel a little selfish because it feels good. And then I noticed how awesome it was to be able to help and how people would reach out and they're like, we want to be a part of your business, or we want to hire you because you did this or you did that. And how a lot of people with businesses will gripe, well, this isn't going right, or that isn't going right. Or for example, the younger generation just doesn't want to work. Well, what are you doing to help it? I go to the local high school and I teach 80 tech kids how to paint a house, and we discuss finances of owning a painting business. I go to Pike Lincoln Tech. It's a tech school nearby, and I talk to the kids about resumes. I go to our New Horizons, which is our alternative school, and I work with the kids on interview skills, and I talk to them about life. Because I agree, there are a lot of younger ones that don't want to work. So what are you doing to help? Well, we give back. And supporting the community, the stronger our community is, the stronger your businesses are going to be. Now, a really interesting fact, the economic director here is a good friend of mine. She was on the podcast. And when large corporations look at moving into an area, they want to know, how well does the community support small business? How well do the small businesses support community? How does that work? It is actually a huge deciding factor in large corporations when they look for an area to relocate. And our area is blessed to have so many small businesses that give back. And just doing that and helping out has been great. My podcast, the Lincoln County Podcast, is just a place for local businesses to come on, talk about what they do, share with us what they do. And it's been wonderful. It's been amazing hearing and learning from so many local businesses like myself, but also seeing all the good things that everybody else does too, not just me.
I love you shared about that, how community, big businesses, when they come in and want to see how the community is being supported. And you're right. Our younger generation, we're in a spot where we accept that excuse, but like you said, what are you doing? And I think that's a big part of community is, what are you doing? When you look at your community, what are you doing? How are you supporting? Back home in Tampa, we have a great organization. It's called the Angel Foundation, and it's an amazing foundation where businesses get together. So if somebody has a tragic thing that happens, whether it's, maybe their house is burnt down, or somebody's gotten sick with cancer, or something really unexpected. Even for me, like my husband and I were part of it. Businesses donate every month to it. If there's a call for action, maybe somebody, needs their grass cut or pay a utility bill, businesses will gather together and help that happen for that individual. And, for me, I give to that organization. I believe in the organization. I think it's important. And I remember when my son passed away in July of 2022, I just picked up the call and said, all I want is somebody to come clean my house, because I knew that they would know somebody could come right away. I was willing to pay for it, everything. But they're like, no, Pearl, this is why we do what we do. So let us surround you. And, for somebody like me, who's an overcoming people pleasing addict, I was like going, I don't need it, but I realized I had to accept it. Right. And so that's because being part of the community, I was able to help put that together and give back. And I love that, it is important to have. And I think it's really cool that your podcast is about your community and supporting others in the community. And like you said, like going into the schools and teaching, I think a lot of our younger generation are budding entrepreneurs. I think they see that. Yeah. And so somebody like you as an entrepreneur and other entrepreneurs going in and sharing, here's what I do. And some people, I can imagine some people listening are going, well, that's your business. Why are you going to go help them create competition? Competition is good. Competition is growth. You can't paint every single house. You can't help every single person lose weight. You can't help every single person do physical therapy, all those things, right? So if we can teach our young, this is how I create a business. This is how you can create a business. What a cool thing to do. And maybe they're going to want to come on and have you as a mentor and help and learn. I think it's awesome. It's something that in my business, I needed to manage my podcast and radio show. We're here recording, right? I want to make sure my guests coming on have the information they need. So when we release that, you've got everything. Well, I was finding that it was becoming overwhelming for my schedule. So a friend of mine, who she actually was my realtor, her daughter was looking for something part-time from college and was like, and this is the jam she wants to be in. I'm like, hey, let me support her. She can make a little money. She can help me and I can mentor her at the same time. And it's just been a win-win. And I thank you for reminding the listeners that our community is important, and what we surround our community with is so important. And COVID was a great example. Like, how cool was it? The thought process of saying, let's get together on a Zoom and let's support one another. How can we help one another? And in a time of, we don't know what's going to happen next, right? I think was really a great lesson to share. I'm going to switch us over a little bit to self-care. We've kind of touched on a little bit here or there, but one of the things that I love to talk about on the show is really, truly soulful self-care. And how do you incorporate that in your life? You're very busy. You're teaching classes. You're an entrepreneur. You have a podcast, right? And oftentimes, I have men on the show. I don't need to worry about self-care. I'm a tough guy, right? No, we know everybody needs to have self-care, right? So Matt, tell everybody, like, what are some of the things that you do to ensure you're taking care of self, but you're also a dad and a husband? How do you also carry that over to your family to ensure, because, oftentimes us moms, we think we have to do everything, right? Yep. So I think it's really cool when the spouse or partner can remind others in their family unit that you also have to take care of self. So what are some of the things you do for yourself? And then I know you do MMA and not MMA, the martial arts, but how do you incorporate that into your self-care?
So the big thing for me, one, and I learned this during COVID, my martial arts school is a huge part of my self-care. We were on week 2 of doing things virtually. I wasn't having contact, with the students other like we are right now. And I realized how much just coming up here and teaching and doing this was a big part for me. But one of the things I learned early on in my entrepreneur journey, the first year that I had the school open, I gained a bunch of weight 15 years ago, got unhealthy because I just worked. As the years went on, I would always put me last. And then when I opened the painting company, I worked a year straight with one of my guys. We worked 7 days a week, longest hours I've ever worked, until my body just shut down. I had a migraine. I got super sick. My body said, guess what? You don't want to sit down? We're going to sit you down. So after that, I realized the importance that you can't pour from an empty cup. So one of the things that I am really blessed with my business is my children are junior leaders here at my school. We have leadership program. They're on the lowest rung of that, which is junior leader. They travel the world with me competing. We're on Team USA. We've been all over the world to compete. Jocelyn and I'm actually pulling her out of school early tomorrow to head to Sedalia, Missouri to do a tournament. My son is staying up here to do a mother and son Nerf night at our church. And normally they would both go with me, but he really wanted to do the Nerf night. And we went to the father-daughter thing. Was fun. But my wife and I had to put our workouts first. She works with me on all the businesses. She runs the back end and handles networking for the painting company. And we had to put our fitness and our health goals first. We do a lot of this by incorporating it with our kids. We do bike rides on the weekends. I'm a big proponent of ice baths. It's really helped me deal and handle stress and kind of reset my nervous system as fried as we can get as entrepreneurs. And so incorporating the kids into doing these things with us and just putting it first, making sure we meal prep, making sure that when it does get to be too much, the wife and I go to dinner. We have a night set aside for us. We honestly, we do lunches more than dinners because we're home. We work together. She got her hair done this morning after her meetings. I was coming up here to the Taekwondo school. She came over here. We spent about 15 minutes catching up for a little bit. And then she was off to go watch the kids at school, and I was getting prepped for my classes. But I find it so many, like you said, it's so important, and so many people don't do it. For me, a big thing is personal development books. Listening to very successful people share their story is super inspiring for me and very relaxing. There's so many different things you can do that you have to, a lot of entrepreneurs get online and they brag, I was up till 12 o'clock working on this. I've had 3 hours of sleep, blah, blah, blah. You got to hustle. No, that's super unhealthy. People ask me that all the time because with both the businesses, with my coaching program I'm building, with books, with speaking, with traveling, with martial art tournaments, they're like, man, you just never sleep, do you? 8 hours a night. I don't skip out on sleep. I spend an hour in the gym every day, unless it takes a lot for me to move that. But sometimes with travel, or sometimes I'll have a customer that'll have an issue that'll require me to go earlier. But I really try to take that time. And one thing I do too is every day around 1 o'clock, I take a 20-minute nap. I have to reset before I come up here to teach. And that's something a lot of people are like, oh, you got to take a nap, blah, blah, blah. It's a reset. And I want to say the book Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss, several very successful, like really successful people talk about their 20-minute power naps and how they don't live without them. And to me, it helped me reassure, because I was like, man, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I need a medicine. Why do I need a power nap every day? And then listening to that book and hearing all these super successful people talk about it, I was like, oh no, this is just something some of us have to do. So, but putting that first is so important. And I think so many people need to really take care of that analogy of you can't pour out of an empty cup. You have to take care of you first.
Yeah, I love that I'm hearing boundaries, like having boundaries around what it is you want for your life, right? And not letting people, move those boundaries unless there's a few situations like what you explained, like a customer or something like that should happen. But having boundaries is so powerful because it lets us stay focused on our self-care. And I do power naps too. I don't even know about the book. I just do it. My husband's like, how can you take a 20-minute nap and just get up? I'm like, that's just how I am. And if I don't get a power nap in, I'll stop, at least do some breathing exercises, just like you said, to sort of like reset that day. And some people can't do it, but I love that. I don't know if I could ever do a cold bath though. That's like I remember watching my
It's a
son doing
game
cold
changer.
baths. There's a gentleman I heard speak who's part of a company that I'm partnered with. He stood up and he talked about how he takes a cold shower every day. I'm like going, oh, I don't know about that. Like, I'm a
The
girl who
cold
has a
shower for me is
yeah,
really hard because you can just turn it warm.
right,
With the
yeah,
ice bath, you're not going to make the ice bath warm. You're just in it. Like
yeah,
you're stuck. You have to get out and it's like, well, I'm already in here. So for
right.
me, it's that part of it too. Like cold showers didn't work. I tried it forever, but I would just be like, oh, that sucks and turn the water warm.
That was me.
With the cold bath, I'm like, well, I'm already out here because I have it in my backyard. It's already full ice. I went through all this work. I guess I'm going to sit here now. And it really truly was a big one, especially if I'm having a long, stressful day with the painting company, because I kind of split my day between that and the academy. It helps me reset and kind of get my head straight before I come up here. And I don't hit them every day. I'm not perfect. There's days like today, I came straight from the elementary school and up here. So my ice bath got skipped. I'll catch it tomorrow. Or
Right.
I might even hop in tonight after I get out of here. I try to do that sometimes as well. But setting those boundaries is really important. And that was the hardest thing when I had the businesses in the early years. And this comes with the experience. People will not set the boundaries for you. They will zap every moment of your time, every bit of your energy. They do not care because what they want, what question they need answered. Human beings were just selfish, and people will take, take, take. That was the other thing I got from Tim Ferriss's book was the power of saying no. You have to say no. I do not do a bid before 9 a.m. If someone or after 1 o'clock, someone says, well, I can only have a bid on my house at 4 o'clock. Well, I'm sorry. I'm already scheduled at that time, but there's plenty of pay. And I'll refer them to a friend that has a painting company. Setting those in place, but it's scary in the beginning. It's very scary, but I've read so many books and heard from so many successful people, and I can speak to this now as well, that it won't hurt business. It won't hurt anything. It just saves you in the long run.
Thank you for saying that, because that's my jam of what I coach on is the power of the word no. It is really a
Oh, awesome.
sentence. No is a sentence. And when you can say no and understand it's a complete sentence, you could say it with a smile on your face. So many things change your life, including the boundaries and not letting people come into your boundaries. I love that you share that. I'm just looking over, I'm like, oh my gosh, our time has gone by. So I got two things I want to ask you to answer before we finish. One is, what's the next thing? You came in first place at the contest. What's the next thing for your Speak It Gauntlet? And then also tell everybody how they can find you or connect with you.
Okay, so the next thing for speaking for me, I'm going to Italy with the cruises, speaking over there in a competition, which would be great. My family is joining me on that if everything falls in correctly. So we're very excited for that. And then I also recently hired a virtual assistant that it handles the publicity for podcasts and speakers. And we are doing a full rollout of probably, I got to see her list, but over 200 schools in the state of Missouri that we're going to be reaching out to for me to come in and speak with the staff and the students. And then also businesses within the state of Missouri. We're going to start here locally. That'll actually start rolling out next week to really get me out there, get me on stage, let me get that repetition in and really share that message with everyone. And I'm super excited. I just proofed the introduction letters and the media kit we're sending out before I hopped on the Zoom today. So it's all really starting to come together. And I'm so thankful for everything I've learned and been taught that it's just been amazing. And, everybody can find me. It's Matthew Boyer on Facebook, Matthew Boyer Official on Instagram. And that is the key way to find and really the easiest way to get in touch with me.
And we will make sure that's all in the notes for everybody, the show notes and everything for everybody to find and see. And I just want to remind everybody that, your wins can grow. Like you said, you can stack the wins. And it's so cool. You're going to go to Italy now. Italy's my favorite place to go in the world. I think it's so awesome to bring your family to. So now they can really see that, the big picture of everything you're doing and be part of that. And we're excited. I think the more people get into our young in front of our young and on stages, the more we can impact and empower our youth. So thank you for doing that and for growing that. And Matt, I just want to thank you for coming on. And I know part of this was because you had come in first place in the competition, but I know when I sat with you, we talked beforehand about some things we have, unfortunately, a path that we kind of have in common. And, I just want you to know that I respect you. I think you're an amazing person. I love what you're doing in the world. And I can't wait to see all the next things that come for you. I think it's just amazing.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And it was awesome. I appreciate you allowing me to jump on here and share my message today. And it was great connecting with you down there and here again. I'm excited to see our paths cross again.
Absolutely. So I just want to end the show, remind everybody that when you come into this world, I'm going to cut my hands because I'm actually in Nevada at my brother and my sister-in-law's house with my amazing little nephew while my brother's taking care of some things he's got to do for his health. And I just want to remind you, as I cut my hands together, you all come into this world. If you can picture this hand as an oyster that's kind of closed, but as you open it up, you're going to find your inner pearl to greatness. And I hope today that your story that you heard from Matt is going to inspire you to build and find your inner pearl to greatness and go out and be the hero that you are today. Have an amazing rest of your day.